Hello, everybody. This is Ms. Jacqueline. I hope you're all doing well. Now, for today's lesson, of course, we will still continue with grammar and we will be doing some of the new exercise pages. Okay, so what I want from my dear students is to prepare their books, pencils, and erasers. Okay, be with me step by step. All right, now we will be starting first with page 29. So all of you with me, open up on page 29. Now the first exercise right here is to classify each sentence. So what are we going to do first is to classify these 4 sentences right here. And then we're going to unscramble sentence 5 using these words. So here I have a bunch of random words and I'm going to put them in the correct order in sentence 5. Now we're going to do sentence number 1. We're going to classify it together. So because I have indirect object and direct object in a sentence, what do I call that pattern? Pattern number 3. Remember what I taught you? Whenever you see indirect object and direct object together in a sentence, you will call it pattern number 3. So, what is the rule of pattern number 3? Subject noun, verb transitive, indirect object, direct object, which makes pattern number 3. You will have all these in this sentence right here. So that is article adjective. Children is the subject noun. Verb, we have sang. This is the verb transitive type. And where do we put the slash between the subject and the verb? Between the subject and the verb. And what is that? Again, article adjective. Teachers is indirect object, while song is the direct object. Now look here. What did I say? Where is the location of an indirect object? It's always going to be between the verb and the direct object. Between the verb transitive and the direct object. Okay? That's where you're going to see the indirect object. And what type of sentence is this? Declarative sentence, because it's obviously just a normal sentence. Okay? Now, number 2. Dave and Francis made their mother a card. Dave and Francis, you have obviously 2 subject nouns together by a conjunction. So it will make it compound subject noun because you have 2 subject nouns together by a conjunction. So this is CSN, CSN, compound subject noun, conjunction, compound subject noun. Made is verb transitive, obviously, because it's the action of the sentence. There is possessive pronoun. Mother is indirect object, while card is the direct object. Where do we put the slash? Between the subject and the verb. What kind of a sentence is this? Declarative sentence. Now, what about number 3? Give the lady in the lunchroom your lunch money. So this is an order, okay? This is an order. So where is the subject in this case? Can we see the subject? No. The subject, it's going to be you. Whenever you have an imperative sentence, when you give an order to someone, you won't see the subject written in the sentence, but you will understand it from your own, and it's going to be you. It's always going to be you, okay? You give the lunch lady in the lunchroom your lunch money. Sorry, you give the lady in the lunchroom your lunch money. I mean you and nobody else. So you will write here you as a subject pronoun, okay? This is the subject. So where do I put the slash? Between the subject and the verb, because give is the verb transitive. The is article adjective. Lady will be the indirect object. Okay? And here we have PAOP. Preposition, article, object of preposition. Your will be a possessive pronoun. lunch is just an adjective, and then at the end we will have a direct object. So what kind of a sentence is this? Imperative sentence, because you're obviously giving an order to somebody out there, okay? Now we have number 4. Again, pattern number 3. A, you have, which is article for that. Captain is the subject noun. Gave is the action of the sentence, so it is the verb transitive. Where do you put the slash between the subject and the verb? The subject and the verb. Please keep this in your mind all the time. His is PPA, possessive pronoun. Men is indirect object. A is article adjective. Simple is just an adjective, okay, because it's describing. Command is the direct object. So where do we have the indirect object? Between the verb transitive and the direct object. The verb transitive and the direct object. Okay, so what type of sentence is this? Declarative sentence, because it's just a normal sentence. Now, number 5, as I said, we're gonna unscramble this type of sentence, which means these words right here. So we have subject noun, which is Bradley. The verb transitive here is gave. PPA, which is the possessive pronoun, which is my. IO, which is the indirect object, and it is brother. A article, it's A, obviously. And the direct object will be book. So the sentence will be, Bradley gave my brother a book. Bradley gave my brother a book. Okay, so before moving on to exercise 2, we need to do together exercise 3 first and then exercise 4. Now, why is that? Because exercise 2, you need your notebooks. You're going to solve this exercise on your notebooks because obviously you don't have any space left on your books for this particular exercise. So be with me first, exercise 3. Now here in this exercise, you have a bunch of different run-on sentences. What is a run-on sentence? It is when you have 2 sentences together and they're not being punctuated correctly. So what are we going to do to fix that is that we're going to rewrite them again and change them into a simple sentence. How? By correcting the punctuation. So I heard a noise. I looked out the window. This is a run-on sentence. I'm going to change them into 2 simple sentences. Okay? That's how I'm going to fix the punctuation mistakes. I heard a noise, so I'm going to start it with a capital letter and I'm going to end it with an end mark. That's how I'm going to fix it. I looked out the window, so I'm going to start it with a capital letter and I'm going to end it with an end mark. This is for the second sentence. After I separate them with the slash, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to fix them. So you have to write this down, okay? Because this is the answer underneath. 5. Mom is going to town. Dad is going to town too. So I'm going to change this run-on sentence into a simple sentence with compound subject. It's right here. SCS. So, first of all, I'm going to put a slash to separate the 2 sentences, and then I'm going to add the compound subject. The subject here is mom. The subject in this one is dad. Mom and dad. So I put them together in order to make a compound subject. Are going to town. So this is the predicate part, and they both have the same predicate part. You see how I changed it? So this is a full, simple sentence with a compound subject. Compound subject. Mom and dad. Number 6. The old wagon bumped along the road. The old wagon rattled. Okay, so I'm going to put a slash between the two, and it's asking for me to make it simple sentence with a compound verb. So I'm going to put the old wagon right here because it's the same subject in both sentences. And I'm going to make a compound verb, which means I'm going to add the two verbs together, which is bumped and rattled. Okay, bumped and rattled. You see now, I made a compound verb. And then I'm going to continue with the rest along the road. So this is a simple sentence with a compound verb. Two verbs together with a conjunction. Number 7. Molly went to the party. Jill went to the party. Again, simple sentence with a compound subject. Molly and Jill went to the party. So after I separate them with this slash right here, I'm going to put Molly and Jill together to make a compound subject, and I'm going to put down the rest of the predicate part. Of course, I need to start my simple sentence with capital letter and end it with an end mark. David wrote a song for our program. David sang a song for our program. SCV, simple sentence with a compound verb. So David wrote and sang. The verb wrote, the verb sang, I'm going to put them together to make a compound verb. And then I'm going to put the rest of the sentence as song for our program. So what did I have here? Simple sentence with compound verb, because that's what it's asking for me. I changed it into a simple sentence with a compound verb. Wrote and sang. This is the compound verb. When you put two verbs together and you have and between them, a conjunction. Understand? I hope you did. Now moving on to exercise 4. Identify each kind of sentence by writing the abbreviation in the blank. So we're going to identify what type of sentence is this. Is it fragment? Is it simple? Is it simple sentence with compound subject or a simple sentence with a compound verb? So looking for shells on the beach. This is also another fragment sentence, okay? So because it's not completed, okay? You have some other parts missing. So we will call it a fragment sentence. The children laughed and shouted. So this is a simple sentence, but what kind of a compound do we have here? Compound verb. Laughed and shouted. Two verbs together. The cows and horses were in the pasture. Okay, now cows and horses. What kind of compound do we have here? Compound subject. Okay, compound subject because we have two subjects together. After dinner, before bedtime. Of course, another fragment sentence because it's not completed and you have some parts missing out there. I enjoyed Brent's birthday party. This is a simple sentence with no compound. Mom planted and watered her garden in the spring. Planted and watered. Two verbs, compound verbs. So I'm going to call it simple sentence with a compound verb. Now, Mrs. Hill and her class went to the airport yesterday. Mrs. Hill and her class. So, two subjects. What does that mean? Compound subject. So what kind of a sentence is this? Simple sentence with a compound subject. This is how you identify the kind of sentence. Fragment sentence, simple sentence with compound subject, or simple sentence with compound verb. Okay? Now, after you read it carefully, then you will decide. Okay? So now we're going to move on to exercise 2. And here, all of you open up your notebooks. Okay? Prepare your notebooks because you're going to write the answer on your notebook. Please write down the number of the page, which is page 29. Again, page 29. And the number of the exercise, exercise 2. Exercise 2. So, we're going to do here. We're going to do what is asking from us, which is to complete the fragment sentence. So here we have 3 different fragment sentences and they're not completed. Okay, so we're going to add the missing part to them. How? By doing what they are asking from us. For example, number 1, under the porch. This is an uncompleted sentence, so I have to add the missing part, which is subject and predicate. So I'm going to add both subject and predicate. All right, now after you opened up your notebooks, please write down the answers as the following. So, be prepared. Number 1, the first fragment sentence was under the porch. Now here I have this uncompleted sentence, right? What do I do to fix it? I will add the missing parts. And it's asking from me the subject and the predicate. So I need to add a subject and predicate, okay? Because that's what it's asking from me. Those are the missing parts in this type of sentence. So I'm going to say they were playing under the porch. They were playing under the porch. So they here is the missing subject. Were playing is the missing predicate. You all know predicate means the verb. So when you add the missing parts, you should add it from your own, but you should be careful. It needs to be related to the incomplete sentence. It means they should have both the same thought. They should be closely related to each other. So they fit perfectly. Here I added the missing parts and now it is a full completed sentence and I can fully understand it. Number 2, jumped from the highest ledge. So here this is another fragment sentence, which means an uncompleted sentence. Now here I'm going to add the missing part, which is the subject. Just pick up any type of normal subject and put it there. For example, Josh. Josh jumped from the highest ledge. Again, Josh jumped from the highest ledge. So here, basically, I added Josh as a missing subject to this fragment sentence and I made it a fully understood sentence, okay? And it's completed, okay? Which is the opposite of a fragment sentence. Now, number 3, the tiny flower seeds. This is another fragment sentence, okay? And we need to add the missing part, which is predicate. That's what it's asking from us, okay? Predicate. Now, the tiny flower seeds were planted in the garden. This is the answer. Were planted, helping verb, verb. In the garden, P-A-O-P. Preposition, article, object of preposition. So this whole thing right here is a predicate part. The verb with the continuing of the predicate part, they all make predicate part. So by this, I'm gonna make a full, understood, completed sentence, which is gonna be the tiny flower seeds were planted in the garden. Now I can fully understand it. Okay? You see how easy this is when you think about it carefully. So you need to pay attention, focus when you do this in your quizzes, okay, in the future. And this will help you to be more creative with your thinking. Okay? Now, I hoped we had the time to do another page, but unfortunately we don't because I cannot finish the other page, which is page 30, in like less than 10 minutes. So I'm going to leave that page for the next lesson, which will be lesson number 3. Okay, so because these pages needs for you to be more active, or I can say like creative, okay? So you need time to do these kind of pages and you need to understand it fully. So I just cannot give you guys 2 pages one after the other. So 1 page for today, the other will be for the next lesson and God willing, okay? At the end, all I want to say is thank you so much for listening. I wish you the best of luck, and please rewatch this video again, because when you do that, you will understand it even more, because with these type of exercises, you need time and creativity. That's why I didn't plan to do both pages in one lesson. So for the next lesson, be prepared. I'm going to do the next page, which is page 30. And I'm going to give you questions at the end with the slide question time. Okay? So, thank you again and bye bye.